How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I'm pretty sure you've all seen the rumours now. Sony are apparently set to announce the A7V basically any day now. It could be like in a couple of weeks, could be this month, could be next month. I'm super excited for the refresh of like the A7 IV. As you can see, I got two of these bad boys. I love the A7 IV. This camera is honestly so good. This camera is pretty much my everyday sort of workhorse. I'm a hybrid shooter. Also, nice to meet you. My name's Connor Wells. I'm a photographer and a videographer. And the Sony A7 IV is my usual workhorse. You know, it's got 33 megapixel sensor, so it's great for photos. It's got 4K up to 60 frames a second with a crop, but I don't mind the crop. The image quality is great. It's great in low light. It's fantastic. It's such a good camera. It has its quirks, like the 4K 60 crop. The screen resolution isn't exactly the best, and also this camera is 3 years old now, so cameras like the Sony A7V, which I'm filming on right now, or the A7R5, which has got like the new flippy screen thing, and it's also got the AI chips in them. So here are some features that I would love to see in the Sony A7V. But before we get into the video, this video is brought to you by Sneak. What is Sneak, you may ask? Sneak is a sugar-free energy drink filled with vitamins and minerals with no artificial flavors, no artificial colors, and the tastes are amazing. They've actually just released their Terminator collaboration. If you're a video and film nerd, you'll know that it's the 40th anniversary of the Terminator film, and they've released two new tubs and a brand new limited edition can, which is cherry limeade flavor. Each serving of Sneak has 0 sugar, 150 milligrams of caffeine, 400 milligrams of ginseng, and 125 milligrams of taurine, which means you're going to be super focused. You're going to have the energy you need without the crash. If you would like to check out Sneak, click the link down in the description and you'll get 10% off your order using my link. Right, let's chat A7V. So, loads of rumor sites posting all the rumored specs and announcements and stuff, but this is what I'd like to see and what I think is realistic. There's a couple of wishful thinking ones towards the end, but these are some ones that I would love to see. Right, the first and the most obvious thing that I'd love to see changed and fixed in the A7V is uncropped 4K 60 frames a second. As you know, if you are a A7 IV user, when you are filming in 4K 60 frames a second, it's going to crop in on the sensor. It's going to basically be like a APS-C size sensor. Apparently that's due to stopping the camera overheating. To be honest, this camera has never actually overheated on me. I've never had an overheating warning on. A lot of people, a lot of my friends who've got this camera, maybe they've got defective models, maybe they've not turned the settings on properly, but they say that the camera overheats. I don't know. I've never had any issue with overheating, whether it's using dummy batteries, using 4K 60 for long periods of time, using 4K 24 frames a second for long periods of time. I've just never been able to get this camera to overheat. So that's a little bit of a tangent, but I would love to see uncropped 4K 60 frames a second. That would be amazing. Next would be the AI chip, the AI autofocus, all the AI things that they've got going on in the Sony A7V, which I'm filming on right now. It's got some really cool features. It's got like product showcase mode, so you don't have to like cover your face when you're holding up a product, which is great, especially when you're talking about tech and stuff. You can just like hold it up and it will recognize that something's in front. You can even just hold it to the side and it will recognize that something's in front. Whereas with the A7 IV, I've got face tracking on, so I've got to hide my face to show off the camera. Which, you know, not ideal because sometimes it doesn't work, and the autofocus is so good that sometimes it does want to just focus on your face. Speaking of autofocus, the A7V, the A7R5 have got like the new body and face detection autofocus. This has got animal, bird and face autofocus, but the A7V, it's got cars, planes, trains, automobiles, and all those cool like autofocus things. Whereas if I'm walking around and I turn around, it will track like my body and stuff. It will create a box around that. I would love to see some stuff like that. It's got the AI auto framing stuff, so like follow your face. If I move back, the sensor will like crop in and stuff and follow you around, sort of like a sort of like a fake sort of tracking zoom kind of thing, which is really cool. I personally don't use it too much, but if I'm without a cameraman and I want to film some BTS, I'll use that because it's quite a cool feature. The next thing I would love to see is the new flippy screen, articulating screen from the A7R5, which it looks incredible. I was a little bit skeptical about how durable it would be, but from what I've heard from people who've got that camera, it's pretty robust and durable. Obviously, be careful, but you don't have to worry too much. But the A7 IV, it's got the flip out screen, vast improvement from the A7 III, which had like just the little tilty screen. But I do like the tilty screen. I like having the option of being able to shoot low and not have to like flip the camera out, because you know when you're leveling up shots, it's better for my composition. I don't have to look to the side when I'm framing up if I'm shooting low, like street photos or all that sort of stuff. So that would be really cool. Speaking of screen, much better resolution screen would be incredible. Honestly, it is so hard to expose your shot, your photos using this screen. It is awful. There's so many times where I look at the screen and look at the photos, look at the shot, and I'm looking at it thinking, this looks really, really overexposed. The highlights look clipped, but then when I bring it into Lightroom, I'm like, it looks fine. It looks absolutely fine, and that's literally just because of the poor quality screen. Sony make amazing 4K OLED 8K TV screens. Why can't they implement that technology into the A7 V or in their cameras? That would be great. It means I don't always have to use a monitor on top of my camera, which, you know, increases the size of your rig. But it's just, I'd like to see a better screen, especially when I'm solo shooting. Like right now, I've got the screen flipped out on my ZV-E1. That would be fantastic. I would love a better quality resolution screen. I don't mind the EVF. The EVF seems a little bit better, but I don't typically use the EVF too much unless it's like a sunny day. I like to be aware of my surroundings, so having that like that, I can't see what's going on around me, so I prefer to use the screen. The next thing which I've seen a lot of cameras implementing recently is 6K open gate. Obviously a sensor, when you're filming in video, it adds like sort of almost like black bars to it. It crops in on the sensor a little bit. I would love to see 6K open gate. That would be amazing, especially because a lot of my clients, sometimes they're not sure on a shoot whether they're going to want landscape or portrait for their videos. Having the option of 6K open gate gives me versatility to deliver them footage that is landscape, but also I can reframe it for portrait as well. Don't get me wrong, a lot of the time my clients do know that they just want vertical content or know that they just want landscape videos for their website or for their YouTube, but sometimes the clients are a little bit undecided and they're like, oh, I don't know, we might want portrait versions, we might want landscape versions, so I have to sort of frame it in mind, shoot a little bit wider to make sure that I've got enough space to crop it into vertical. Having 6K open gate would be an absolute game changer. I think a lot of cameras now are implementing 6K resolution into their cameras. I think the A7V could be the first sort of small mirrorless with, like on the Sony line, with 6K open gate. They're playing catch up a little bit there. I'd love to see that. Now, these last two things are kind of like wishful thinking. Don't get me wrong, 33 megapixel sensor is fantastic. The sensor is so sharp, it's so good in low light for photo and video, but I'd always like more. Since shooting on my Leica Q3, I've been loving having more megapixels. Now, obviously this is a 28mm lens and it means I'm going to be cropping in a little bit more, but I love having more megapixels. I don't know why, it just looks like a better image. This has got 60 megapixels. Now, I am not expecting an A7V to have 60 megapixels, but I'd love to see something like 45 megapixels upgraded from the 33 megapixels. That would be really, really cool. Wishful thinking, I don't know, maybe they're just going to try and save the more megapixels for their like R line of cameras, like the R5, the R4 and all those sorts of ones. But 45 megapixels, wishful thinking, I would love to see that. And the last thing of wishful thinking, 4K 120. I don't mind if there's a crop, don't mind if there's like no image stabilization, because you're going to be slowing it down anyway, so those sort of camera shakes and jitters aren't going to be too noticeable. But I would love to see 4K 120 frames a second in the A7 V. That would be incredible. The only camera I've got presently right now that has 4K 120 is the Sony ZV-E1, which is mad because Sony advertised this as a vlogging camera. I think they're doing it a disservice. It is much more than a vlogging camera. You can shoot so much with this. And the fact that this tiny little body with very little heat dissipation has 4K 120, yes, it does overheat if you're going to be using it pretty regularly, but the fact that this can actually do 4K 120 and this can't, mind-blowing. But like I said, wishful thinking, we shall see. So that is my wish list for the Sony A7V. I would love to see all of those things implemented into this new upgrade of the camera. This is a 3-year-old camera now, and I would love to see those features implemented. If you're a photographer or videographer, let me know in the comments below what you'd love to see in the Sony A7V. Maybe there's something I've missed, maybe there's something that you'd love to see that I maybe haven't picked up on. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.